Good morning, real estate. When Richard invited me to speak, initially I said, what about? And he mentioned that anything. So I said, okay, can I talk about licensing, regulation, and development of the profession, since I am connected with the Professional Regulation Commission in charge of licensing, regulating, development of all real estate service professionals. He said, you can do that. But on second thought, I spoke yesterday in Tagaytay, in DAP, and talk about the ASEAN economic integration as regards to the real estate profession. So I said, I might as well perhaps share what I have discussed, what were elucidated in yesterday's meeting with some of the real estate practitioners as regards to the legal aspects of real estate. So here I am. I think I will be presenting initially, thank you Richard for inviting me, 2 videos as regards to the AEC Community 2015 roadmap.
Activity across the region. There are many gaps to fill and progress that needs to be made. Our ASEAN infrastructure needs require billions of dollars of investment. By 2020, ASEAN's combined population is set to reach 660 million plus. We'll have over 100 million people in the middle class and 330 million in the urban population. All these people need connectivity. Connected roads, connected seas, connections to the internet, connections to electricity supplies, connected services, connections to their friends and business colleagues. They need more ASEAN connectivity. There is currently 4,069 kilometers of track in great need of upgrading across Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam. The Singapore-Kunming rail link is a project set up to address this need. The Singapore-Kunming rail link will not only bring ASEAN closer together, but make it easier for ASEAN to do business across the region, opening up economic opportunities and markets. When complete, the rail network will connect Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam and South China, as well as create connecting lines between Thailand and Myanmar, and Thailand and Laos, altogether stretching 7,000 kilometers. The project is still in progress, and ASEAN is working to ensure that the resources and funds needed to make the project a success can be realized. We are laying down the tracks for our future. We need to connect our skies. We need to continue to work towards an ASEAN Open Skies Agreement between ASEAN members that can accommodate increased air travel and create an open airspace for all. That is why we're working to improve our national and regional air travel regulations to bring us under one sky. We will upgrade and build more airports and runways. We will create an environment where ASEAN's people can fly and connect. More connections, less delays. We need to connect our seas, rivers and inland waterways. Within ASEAN, we have 51,000 kilometers of navigable inland waterways, as well as major ports in our archipelago and coastal countries. These too need connecting. Improving maritime transport and facilities is critical to the success of ASEAN transportation and shipping. We're working towards an ASEAN single shipping market and roll-on, roll-off network and short-sea shipping to make it easier for us to navigate the region's seas and gain easy access to the region's ports. New roads need to be built, and existing roads are also in need of repair and upgrade. We need to fill the potholes and lay down new tarmac. That is why projects such as the ASEAN Highway Network and Trilateral Highway are so important. These projects are working to upgrade the roads within ASEAN and beyond. For example, the Trilateral Highway will connect ASEAN by road all the way to India. These projects are essential components to creating a fully integrated multimodal transport network across the region. We need to keep pushing for more ASEAN connectivity to address the great need to upgrade our infrastructure networks. Doing so is vital for ASEAN to truly realize its potential and continue on its developmental journey.
ASEAN is one of the most vibrant and fastest growing communities in the world. And by the end of 2015, the realization of the ASEAN community will connect our institutions, infrastructures, and all of us like never before. It will bring new opportunities for everyone living and working in ASEAN. We will be hearing a lot more about this in the coming months, as communications are ramped up to explain how the ASEAN community benefits all of us and how ASEAN is important globally. Yes, ASEAN is a community, but more importantly for all of us, ASEAN is a community of opportunities.
ជំរាបសួរខ្ញុំនឹងលក់ផលិតផលរបស់ខ្ញុំទៅឲ្យប្រជាជនកាន់តែច្រើននៅក្នុងតំបន់អាស៊ាន
จะมีโอกาสมากขึ้นที่ในเรื่องของการทำงานในประเทศต่างๆในอาเซียนสำหรับดิฉัน
Sa panahon ng kalamidad, alam kong maasa na tulong ng mga taga-ASEAN.
We are a community of caring and sharing people, a community that seeks peace and security for its people, a community that will provide livelihood and prosperity for all of us, and a community with a sense of belonging and identity.
Streamlined regulations will allow me to grow my business across ASEAN.
Saya tidak menyangka banyak hal yang terdapat di ASEAN. Bersama sebagai ASEAN, kita akan jadi lebih kuat.
This community of ours, made up of 10 nations, has the world's third largest workforce. By 2020, there will be 650 million people living in our region, with half of them under the age of 30. Those people will have helped turn ASEAN into the world's fourth largest economy by 2050. What an amazing opportunity for everyone.
ASEAN tiếp coi người con gái với mấy đứa nhỏ.
ข้าพเจ้าต้องการให้มันของพวกเขามีสิ่งที่ดีในอนาคตของพวกเจ้า
Saya pasti akan lebih banyak pilihan produk untuk dibeli.
Tidak usah menunggu hari jadi ASEAN yang ke-50 tahun 2017.
ASEAN adalah masa depan saya dan komuniti ASEAN adalah komuniti saya.
ในรูปแบบเปิด
Komuniti saya juga.
At pamayananku din.
และของดิฉันด้วย
มีข้อเชื่อของยิ่งใหญ่
Có tôi luôn.
Komuniti saya juga.
Community ko pun juga.
Dan komunitas saya juga.
And mine too.
Artinya jangan menjadi yang pribadi.
There you are. I would like to impress that ASEAN is a community of opportunities. Initially, I thought that when I will discuss with you today licensing, regulation, and development, I can see a lot of developers around. And by this time, perhaps the most commonly criticized and sought after agencies in government as far as marketing and selling of real estate properties are concerned are the HLURB, the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board, and the Professional Regulation Commission because of Resolution number 922 requiring all sales persons to procure accreditation with PRC and with HLURB. As I move on, as I go along, I will be explaining some of the points. Okay? The nagging questions whenever I go is the Philippines ready for ASEAN Economic Community, which is now with us, 2015. But many people know, or perhaps a wrong delusion, that 2015 will be the start of everything. Yeah, it's true, but the accord will be signed still in the last quarter of 2015. I think right after the APEC meeting here in the Philippines. Are we ready? Then we will answer perhaps later on during the end of my presentation. But I know that some of you know what is ASEAN. So I always tell people, we are Filipinos, but we are also ASEAN. And ASEAN brings us a lot of opportunities, bringing together 600 million now and 650 million in 2020, 2050. And then growing and growing, that will make us the fourth largest region in the whole world. Of course, I need not elucidate, you can see on the screen, what the composition, the initial composition of ASEAN, the charter which was done in Bangkok. No? So ASEAN was signed in Bangkok, dubbed as the Bangkok Declaration. And all of the 10 countries are now members. Let's just look. All right, Philippines, 100 million. I'm trying to highlight the population because this is our market. Malaysia has 30 million. Thailand has 67 million population. Indonesia has 253 million. Okay, all right. And Singapore has a population of 5.47 million. That's why in Singapore now they're encouraging more babies. In Vietnam, it's a fast rising. Vietnam has 93 million. We are 100 million. And Myanmar, I met somebody from Myanmar yesterday in the DAP, and he made mention that they're trying to benchmark on the Philippines as far as agriculture is concerned, 54 million. And Brunei has a measly almost 500,000. And Cambodia has 15 million. And Laos has a total population of 6.8 million. All right, so let me just talk about ASEAN connectivity. In real estate, the Asian economic integration would bring us in 2015 and beyond. PRIPLO is a single market production base. PRIPLO of professional services, PRIPLO of goods, capital, investment, and skilled workers. Since I am connected with the Professional Regulation Commission, we are looking at this PRIPLO of professional services and likewise the skill. All right, this is how ASEAN look like. No? 4 pillars of AEC, single market and production base, competitive economic region, equitable economic development, and integration in the global economy, which I understand is the main thrust, the main objective of this forum. Okay, let me just, forgive me for being biased on professional services because I am with the PRC. Why am I saying this? Because right now there are 7 professions that the Philippines, together with the Philippines has signed together with the other countries in ASEAN. There are 7, from accountancy down the line to architecture, to engineering, and now they would want real estate to be the 8th. I was told by NEDA and always and DTI that most countries in Asia, whenever they talk about mutual recognition agreement on professional services, they say, what about real estate? And let me tell you a story about Singapore. Anybody from Singapore here? About a couple of months ago, there were two fine Singaporean gentlemen who went to my office in PRC and asked me, Chairman, can Singaporeans sell properties in the Philippines? And I said to them, can I ask you a question? Does Singapore government allow Filipinos to practice in Singapore? Their answer is no. So easy, my answer is no. We will not allow you, although in the law, in Republic Act 9646 or the Real Estate Service Act of the Philippines, there is a reciprocity clause, reciprocity agreement wherein bilaterally, if both countries allow each other to practice in that country, then it will be allowed, but they have to register with the PRC. And so, the 8th profession, I think PRC and II and the other countries are working on some bilateral and multilateral agreements. As a matter of fact, I have just been to Singapore and talked to the regulators of Singapore, and hopefully we can do something about it before the end of the 3rd quarter. And likewise in Malaysia. So we'll try, Philippines would like to try to benchmark with the bigger, I should say, the most developed countries in Asia, like Thailand, Singapore, and Malaysia. So we can learn from them. As a matter of fact, the law, RESA law, was partially based. We got some provisions from the Malaysian model. Okay, let me just skip that. But these are the professions that are included in the ASEAN Registry of Professionals. Engineering, nursing, surveying, architecture, dentistry, medicine, and accountancy. And hopefully, number 8 will be real estate. Alright, so it is just recognizing the professional competency of each profession and allow to practice in both countries. Okay? Although now we recognize also professionals coming over to practice, but they have to secure permits from the Bureau of Immigration and to the PRC to be able to practice. Alright. So let me just focus on real estate, which is the main core. Alright. So I think I will not be discussing that. You have seen that in the video presentation. And alright. So there are current trends in real estate, in the real estate industry in Asia. In the Philippines, or developed Manila, Makati, Global City, Port Bonifacio, but lately we were worried about the news coming from PBOX about the impending 7.5, 7.2, 7.5 Richter scale coming in, and we have to be prepared, right? Okay, Philippine property outlook, very good. There is no truth to the rumor that the property, there's going to be a property bubble in the country. Maybe it will be far-fetched. It will be long, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. Still, the real estate industry will be robust. Alright? You don't have to try to read it, because I will leave a copy of my presentation to Richard so it can be distributed to all. Or in Malaysia, is one of the promising countries. Malaysia also is up. Which not? And Thailand is also moving despite the political problem. Indonesia is trying to burn out. Singapore. I can see and I noticed that there are a lot of developers who are going to Singapore to do some initial marketing study, and because it reaches our office that some big developers are going on a caravan to not only in ASEAN but also in the United States and in Europe, Vietnam. Market is doing good in Vietnam. In Myanmar, is picking up, and Brunei, small country, still the same, but I think it will be developed soon. In Bandar Seri Begawan, where the development is concentrated, and in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh, yes, you can see development is moving fast. And in Laos, which is supposed to be the tail ender, I think beginning to pick up. So, what is my conclusion? Conclusion is that real estate market in ASEAN is really moving. And we can see that in the next 5 years. And the Philippines real estate professionals in an industry will play a major part in the ASEAN economic integration 2015. Okay, so let me just quickly summarize what I thought and what I believe would be necessary for us to be really competitive. Urbanization. I saw Mr. Tino discussing about BGC and land, right? True. As a matter of fact, sir, I am in BGC, and it's very easy for me to move around. Okay, infrastructure is now moving, although temporarily we have chaotic traffic. Okay, so growing affluence for housing and professional services. And very important, trust of the Philippines is increasing tourism. All over the Philippines, tourism is moving forward. Healthcare. I heard and I had some visitors from ASEAN talking about setting up a retirement homes in the Philippines, preferably in cool areas like Tagaytay, in Baguio, and in some beaches in the Philippines. And I can see that really it's moving. Okay, industry and trade, moving. And education, which is very close to my heart. As you can see, I am an educator through and through. I have been in education for the last 30 years, also doing real estate. And my passion is quality education. Although lately, I think 2 days ago, there was a news about CHED allowing the increase of tuition fees of some 200 plus higher education institutions in the Philippines. But today, I read in the papers, it's not final. They can find a motion for the consideration. Yeah, investment. will be required for, of course, in real estate investments coming over. It's a lot. But this is one thing that is nagging us Filipinos, the liberalization of the land ownership laws. 60-40, do we allow foreigners to own properties in the Philippines? That is a question we have to ponder and discuss with our legislators. Okay. And then the real estate service professions where we belong, and I'm sure, you know, I was approached when I entered the hall by a beautiful lady saying that, Chairman, I'm going to take the licensure exam on Sunday. Sabi niya, can I have selfie? Maybe I will pass the exam if I have a selfie with you. But it's true, I am one of the examiners in the licensure exam. And I bet you, you know, one of the indicators why I can see and I can say that real estate is really moving leaps and bounds is that in the past 4 years, you know, RESA law was 2009, June 29, 2009. The board of real estate, where I am the current chairman, was appointed in 2010 in the new administration. And from 2010 up to now, we have administered at least 4 examinations. And the number of brokers, licensed examinees who would want to do a career in real estate selling and marketing, every year we have about 5,000, 5,500. Maybe we have, I think the highest we had was about 5,700. But this year, I was surprised. Why? It's double. 10,550 examinees. Bigger than the bar examinees. Oh, ano bang bar? 5,600. Now, we have 10,500. They asked me, Chairman, can you give me some tips? I said, no. We are not allowed. We are not allowed. But I always ask those who talk to me in my office, and those, when I'm always invited to speak, they ask me, Chairman, how do you pass the licensure exam for brokers? I said, study. And seek divine intercession. Pray. If you do not know the answer, because it's going to be tricky. Licensure exam for brokers, 400 questions. 400 questions. You don't know the answer? It's very confusing. Computations. Very confusing. I said, all you have to do is go up, look up, pray, and then put up your pen, and then close your eyes and put it down. Wherever it landed, that's the answer. All right. Yeah. I don't think, well, I think it's just the same. Capital inflow, then the higher rates of consumer spending will be done. Then, okay, foreign direct investments. Then, of course, one very important factor is the BPO sectors. BPO is with us. In almost all of the cities, I've traveled all over the Philippines trying to administer the oath takings and talking about cascading and propagating the RESA law and how it should be followed both by developers and the landowners, property owners, and also the real estate professionals. And I can see that BPOs everywhere is there. Okay, tourism, then industry players. In the construction is fast moving. No? And employment opportunities there. Then an emergence of more economic hotspots in various parts of the country. All over. You see a lot of development. I was just in Bacolod and I see a lot of development. From Silay Airport, you can see development. In Iloilo, in Cagayan de Oro, I was there last week. Development is there. From the Laguindingan Airport. Okay? And of course, FDI is very important, and I see that a lot of negotiations are now happening in the discussion of this. Let me just state that. So the Philippine Professional Regulatory Board service will be at the forefront of the ASEAN Economic Integration 2015 in the areas of licensing, regulation, development, and continuing professional development, upgrading, and development education to meet the challenges of AEC. I would like to emphasize and highlight, my dear friends, that by next year, we will no longer allow in the PRC examinees would want to take the real estate broker's exam without possessing a bachelor's degree in real estate management. The BS Real Estate Management was approved by the Commission on Higher Education under CMO CHED Memorandum Order number 28, series of 2011. And it's been going on, and the first graduates will come out in 2016. And in 2016, thereafter, will not only those who are graduates of BS REM will be allowed to take the licensure exam. What about those? Now, it's very lenient. All you need to do is any college graduate pursue 120 hours of training, real estate training, and you can take the licensure exam. But next year, it will be different because we now have a course approved by the Commission on Higher Education. And so maybe that's the reason why the increase of the number of examinees. They would like to catch up because next year course na. But they do not know that if you would want to take in to pursue real estate career and take the licensure exam, all you need to do if you're a graduate of a course, say architecture or engineering, is for you to go to any well, academic institutions that are offering real estate management, and you present your credentials and they will allow you to enroll only if you are already a graduate, so that's considered a second course, and you'll be allowed to only take 2 years of professional education in real estate, and then you'll be allowed to take the licensure exam, and you will have, what's the advantage? You will have 2 degrees, architecture and BS in real estate management. How about that? Okay. And so, let me introduce to you the members of our board. I have 2 members, one from private sector, one from government, because we also include in our board government assessors and assistant assessors. So now assessors in government, which is quite related to real estate, no, cannot be promoted, cannot be retained if they do not have a license in appraisal. So we are giving them an appraisal license. And so I have members of my board, one from government, one from the private sector, and we try to not only to conceptualize but implement continuing professional development for our real estate professionals. Okay, this is how we look up today. Licensed real estate professionals as of April of 2014, we have brokers 20,934 plus the 10,550 who are going to take the licensure exam. I do not know, traditionally 50 to 55% pass the exam. So it means to say how many? About 6,000, 5,500 maybe. will join so that then after next week, we will be 25,000. And appraisers, we have 6,195. 3,000 are government assessors. And the other 3,195 are private appraisers. And of course, real estate consultants, we call it the APEC. The APEC in the real estate service profession, if you are a real estate consultant. That is why in the Facebooks and almost in all media, many are complaining to me, Chairman, why are we allowing developers to use the title property consultant, real estate consultant? It's so hard to get the real estate consultant exam. That is the APEC, that's the highest. Because you cannot take the licensure exam for real estate consultant if you have not been 10 years in real estate practice, or 5 years in real estate appraiser, or 10 years in real estate brokerage. So why? I said, maybe we could probably write those developers who are using that, and I think it bore fruits because they have changed the name. They're no longer consultants, but they are property specialists. Huh? All right. So salesperson, I have in PRC registered about 5,100, but I can surmise that out there in the whole archipelago, in the whole Philippine Islands, I have over 100,000 salespersons not registered with PRC. And that is the reason why I think the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board, under Commissioner Tony Bernardo, has issued Resolution number 922, requiring developers to register their sales agents to HLURB. And one of the requirements of HLURB is to seek accreditation from us, from the Professional Regulation Commission. And that is why you go to my office, we are swamped with so many long queue of sales agents trying to get accreditation. The one problem is, sabi niya, you know, our facilities are not that good. You have to be under the sun if you queue. And so what we're trying to do is to build more and more people so that we can accommodate as much or as many registrants as possible. So if and when by the end of the year we have registered 100,000 salespersons, then you can imagine the enormous number of real estate practitioners in the Philippines. And so I go back to my initial query. Are we ready in real estate for the integration? What do you think? Yes, we'll be ready. All right? So, thank you for listening and good morning, real estate.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark.